Uh, Go ahead, Natalia, you want to start off?
I shall. My name is Natalia, and I'm the teen librarian at the Terrace Library. Thank you guys for showing up for the Mind, Soul, and Comics Teen and Tween Book Club. This is a unique collaboration with the USF School of Information. And don't worry if you haven't read any of the books. I kind of haven't finished one of them yet, but I've read the others. But feel free to go ahead and answer questions or ask questions and just participate in how you would like to. I've just got a couple of rules. Please be respectful and courteous to one another. Every feeling you have is valid. Just know that we're here for you. Participate however you feel comfortable. And please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And if you feel comfortable enough, please have your video on. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And I'll bring it over to Brittany.
Hi everyone, my name is Brittany and I'm a librarian and research assistant with the School of Information at USF, and I'm really excited to talk with you all about this super creepy book. Yes. Peter, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, sure. Hi everyone, my name's Peter. I'm a librarian and I also work at University of South Florida School of Information. Let's see. Oh, down to Kiara, right.
Hi, I'm Kiara. I'm a social work intern at USF, and I'm also here to help facilitate today's creepy discussion. Yes. And I'm also here if you have any concerns or questions, and I can link you to needed resources. If you need them, you can email us at storystrongbookclub@gmail.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible, and I'll hand it back to Brittany.
All right, so our theme for this month is othering. Now, for those of you who may have never heard of that term before, othering is essentially treating people maybe from another group like they're different or even inferior to yourself or the group that you belong to. So we're going to kind of keep that concept in mind today as we talk about some awesome graphic novels. So we're going to focus today on Neil Gaiman's graphic novel Coraline, which was also made into a movie. But if we have time, we might also talk a little bit about the graphic novels Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi and Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. So, and there they are on the screen, in case you haven't seen them. Thank you, Natalia. So before we begin, just out of curiosity, how many of you have had a chance to read Coraline? Any thumbs up if you have? Okay, cool. What about the movie? Has anybody seen the movie? Okay, awesome. All right. So, well, even if you haven't, don't worry. Everything we talk about today is going to be stuff that everybody can relate to. All right. So for those of you that haven't read it or maybe just need a refresher, Coraline is about a young girl named Coraline, and the story takes place after her family has moved into a new home. So Coraline discovers a strange door that, when open, reveals a home that looks exactly like her own, including a copy mother and father. So at first, everything seems great, but her other mother and father want her to stay and be their little girl forever. So as the story progresses, Coraline must use all her wit and courage to save herself and her real family before it's too late. Okay, so in the beginning of the book, Coraline struggles with feeling bored and neglected by her parents, who are always busy working and don't have a lot of time to spend with her. So my question for all of you is, have any of you ever felt unwanted or unnoticed by people you cared about? And what was that like for you?
I'm not going to go first again this time.
Okay, I'll jump in. I'll be the icebreaker. All right. See, I've made strides since English major. Okay, so I can think of jobs that I've worked in the past where I worked, 10 times as hard as some other people in my department, but I was never recognized by my supervisor, not even so much as an occasional thank you or good job. And I realize now that that was really just maybe her shortcomings as a supervisor. But at the time, it can make you feel really self-conscious and wonder if you are good enough or if you are doing a good job. So, I mean, have any of you ever felt that way, like unnoticed or unappreciated at a job, or maybe like from a teacher or a parent?
Oh, wow. I had a teacher in 8th grade who was, I think he was my civics teacher or something like that. I really loved his class. But I was new. I think I was new. It was, I was new to the school, so he didn't know who I was. And I tried to do a trick in class and it just failed. It was terrible.
trick. You know,
A
you
magic,
have to
yeah, it's hard
elaborate.
to do a magic trick. It's hard to do a magic trick involving his pack of cigarettes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where it went wrong.
Yes, it was supposed to it was supposed to be magic, and I did it wrong, and I smashed his cigarettes by mistake. And it was his last pack of cigarettes. This
Oh,
kids don't
geez.
smoke, but I'm saying it was his last pack of cigarettes, and he was mad at me, and he was just mad at me for the entire semester after that.
Oh,
It was, yeah, it was embarrassing, and I don't know why I thought it would. Well, I had seen my uncle do it, and it was pretty cool. I'm like, I can do that. I can do magic. I can't, and so. Yeah, so that was me trying to get attention in my 8th grade class. There you go. Started off with a story about young Peter already.
Young
Yeah.
Denise has funny stories about being other.
Yes, I know.
So I am originally from a small town in Tennessee, and my dad was in the military, so we lived in Germany when I was in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. So then I came back from Germany back to my little rural town in Tennessee, and I had an accent, and it was not a Tennessee accent. And so all my cousins and all their friends and they had a field day with that accent. And so, this was back in the days before caller ID. And
Mhm.
it was so much fun to prank call cousins. And they were always, Denise, I know that's you. I recognize that proper talk anywhere.
Oh, wait. Was that your accent before you went to Germany?
No, that's for Tennessee.
Like that?
Did you have a Tennessee accent in Germany?
I mean, I'm sure I must have had a Tennessee accent in Germany, but I don't think I noticed it there because,
Just wondering if that was like how they understood that.
Yeah, that I never noticed any problems. But then, my German wasn't that good, so I didn't notice it with others.
I just pictured speaking German with a very Tennessee Southern accent.
That was not the problem.
I love it.
No, that was not the problem. It was coming back to the States with a neutralized.
Oh, wow.
It was with a neutralized accent that was clearly not, rural Tennessee accent.
That's funny. Wow.
I think that's interesting, that idea of being othered by your family in a way, because I had some experience because I did all my grad work in the UK, and I came back and pronounced things slightly differently. Like, I think I still say adult instead of adult. And like, my family has picked up, and my mother especially will be like, that's not how we say that, or that's weird, or what. So it's almost like this, like who are you supposed to blend in with? Almost like your cousins are noticing that, and my mother is noticing that. So this, like, we're a family, we're supposed to be the same almost.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't notice that. What's the difference? Adult and adult? What is it?
Adult and adult. I think because we'd talk about young adult literature, and so I just, yeah. And I didn't even know that, like, I didn't even realize that I had done it. Like, some things I know that I've started saying differently. Like, I'll say
aluminium.
Yes, I can say aluminium, but I can switch back and forth if I need to. It was like learning a foreign language.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, oh yeah, I went rocket instead of arugula. I have to still think when I'm at the store, like, which one do I want? Oh. Where am I? What am I buying? Buying arugula.
What's the other name for it?
Rocket.
Rocket? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. When you learn to cook in the UK, when you haven't really been cooking a lot in the States, and you come back and you're like, this grocery store is weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Anyone else? Anything?
I'll go slightly darker.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, take us. Yeah.
So I have very wonderful grandparents
Mhm.
that cater to the other side of the family. So my
Mhm.
dad's brother and sister, their children are all catered for, and my brother and I were just kind of left in the dark going, are they really our grandparents? Because we love them, but
Mhm.
now we feel like an outsider going, especially going over to their house. I still feel like that going over their house. And I feel like you can't touch anything. You know, if you touch it, they're going to know, you're going to leave smudge marks. And it's just so uncomfortable because my mom's mom, so my maternal grandmother she took care of us a lot. So I'm so used to like being at her house. And then I went over to my dad's parents' house and it's just such a different feeling.
Mhm.
You can feel so much love in one place and it's so cold and pale and white. The house is really white. So I'm just like, that's like a hospital.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. My Nana didn't like me. She liked my cousin. I think she hated me. I'm not sure. Yeah. I know. Dark, right? Got sad.
Yeah. I'd ask that question.
I don't think she hated me. She just liked my cousin. He was younger and cuter. But he said like all these, he would say things like, "Oh, how are you doing today?" He would go, "Fine," and I would say, "Good." And I'm like, "Oh, am I supposed to say fine?" And so I got super paranoid about talking to her. And like she would go, "How are you today?" I'm like, I don't know, fine. And she goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, she just wasn't a very warm person, I guess. That's what it was. But I always thought that she just hated me because she liked my cousin.
We were specifically told because we were not the firstborn grandchildren, we were not cared about as much.
Really?
So
Oh,
little
wow.
dark.
That is. We weren't told that.
Yeah.
Should ask. I'm not sure about that.
I don't think it's something you want to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But yeah, that's let's see. So why don't we do this for those who couldn't join us today? What do you think? That this is for people who haven't made it to this session today. What was the question? Oh, have you ever felt unwanted or unnoticed by people that you care about? If you want, you could go ahead and journal it or write it down, save it, think about it, reflect about your answer. But we'll go ahead and go to the next question, which is, Talia, right?
All right. So after Coraline stepped through the magic door to the other world, like real other, the other mother and other father she meets give her everything she could ever want. They tell her she doesn't belong with her real family, that she would just fit so much better with them because she will be the perfect child and they will be the perfect parents. They love her more than her real parents, but their intentions are not so great. And it's not just because they look really creepy. Button eyes. Can't stop staring at button eyes. Have you ever believed someone when they told you they liked you or cared you about your feelings only to be disappointed by them? How did you feel? What happened?
That's a tough one. I can't get the image of the other mother out of my head now. Yeah. What was it, like the buttons on the plate?
Should I find that image?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to do that. That's super scary.
This is a scary question.
No, I'm trying to think how that would work out. I don't know. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Yeah. I worry about Neil Gaiman sometimes. I hope everything's okay.
We should have done like
Has an
Stephen
image.
King.
Okay, we
But yeah. See, that's got to be painful. Scary. All right. Who wants to jump in on that one?
I'll go. I can relate to this from a relationship standpoint. I've been cheated on from an ex, and anyone who's ever experienced that can relate to not only how much it hurts, but when you look back on your life and memories that you had, and you just wonder how much of it was real, and it especially makes it difficult to trust people again too. So I don't know, have any of you ever been disappointed or hurt by like a significant other or maybe a best friend in your life?
I think I've had friends who, you just kind of assume that when you're friends, you're both kind of like looking out for each other, and the friend will be like, yeah, I'm here for you, but it ends up kind of being a one-sided friendship where they want a lot from you. And you're like, well, they're in a space right now where they need extra support, but then it kind of keeps going where they're like, I still need this extra support. You're like, that's, and then you're kind of like, well, I want to still be there for you, but at the same time, is this relationship out of balance? And how do you figure that out when you're like, where do you figure, because it's not like a relationship or a significant other, when it's a friendship, you're kind of like, oh, I want to be there for you because we're friends. And then eventually, realizing that, well, maybe this isn't the kind of friendship I want.
I sort of look at this other family and the other mirror family as like sometimes how the dynamics play out in blended families or in families after there's been a divorce, and how trying to navigate that terrain, well, this is my one house and this is my other house, and I feel somewhat comfortable here, and these people say they love me too, but it doesn't feel right anymore because maybe I sided with this parent. And I see some of that in this story. That's kind of, it's tricky, it's tricky, and it maybe feels, especially if it was not an amicable separation, then seeing that from the child's perspective, that maybe it feels dangerous, and even though there's people who are on the surface, people that care about them.
It's always in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Growing up, we were the first family to have a microwave, cable, and I was also the first family to be like divorced. Like no one on my block or even I don't think anyone in my class, or it wasn't something that I asked about, right? So no one really knew what that was. So I always, like my friends, like their parents would go, oh, so how's your dad? I'm like, oh, great. I guess I haven't seen him in a while or something like that. So I'd always have to make stuff up. And it was like, just then I went to Catholic high school. And so that was tough because just trying to deal with that, with divorce. And I don't, trying to think, did I know anyone in high school? Probably did, but no one talked about it. And like the brothers
Mostly frowned upon in Catholic
Mm-hmm.
religion.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like I remember, like we had to write down like information and like address. I'm like, I don't know. And so I think I made something up. I made up an address, and then one of the brothers who were our teachers, like was asking me these questions about it. I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, but you're always thinking about that, trying to navigate like, should I do this? Should I do that? So because I was always worried about other people being disappointed that I came from like a divorced family, right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, no, that's how
Yeah.
I felt too. I mean, my parents divorced when I was 10, and feeling somehow like I had a mark, like,
Yeah.
I'm the kid from the divorced family, and there weren't that many, that I knew at the time either. And so, but I really am a nice person, even though, even though my parents are not married anymore. But judge me on my own merit. That
Right.
was how I felt like I had to interact with people that way. And yeah, so, and yeah, there was that, and trying to figure out, well, okay, my my dad went back to Germany after that.
Oh,
So
hey,
yeah,
we had the accent, right?
yeah, he had the accent.
Ready-made
So
accent,
yeah,
right?
so yeah, so the same things. Like, well, I don't know where
Mm,
he is. I don't know his address now. It's an APO.
right. Oh, I know. And it was I was a terrible liar too. I thought I was real smooth, but looking back, I was terrible because they would look at me like, oh, okay. Like my friend's parents. Really? Yeah. Like, yeah, he came around. Like, no. I don't know why they asked, but then tried to catch me. I think because I did a terrible job and they weren't very good at dealing with that, I guess, dealing with the issue. But I remember just running away after that. Like, I'm gonna go downstairs with my friend Jeffrey. It was like, let's go watch TV or something. Just ran ahead. So it was just so uncomfortable because I thought that people would think I was strange or odd or something like that. Now, keeping with the subject, I don't know if I've told anyone the story about Paco, who was my parrot. So Paco was a parrot that I got. This was so around the same age time. So I want to say 3 years later, grasping for someone to love, right? So I got a parrot. I'm like, oh, I'm going to love you so much. And my mother bought him for me. We thought it was a baby parrot, but it wasn't. It was very old. And
Oh
very
no.
And this parrot hated me. So I was ready to give this parrot all my love. And he would bite me. He would try and get out of his cage and fly into doors and windows. I'm like, Paco, stop. So, because I thought he would like sit on my shoulder and he would talk. Oh, he never talked, didn't do anything. I eventually just wound up giving him away to someone. Yeah, I know. Oh, so sad. Maybe we could do after this my Paco story. Oh, it was a terrible parrot though. I would never get
my aunt has, I think it's like a bird from the Amazon.
Really?
And we thought it's a he, so we call him he, and we call him Snoop. And then he's like really pretty, multicolored, but evil. And like if you try to like go near the cage, like he immediately is trying to like bite at you. And he only likes my aunt. It's supposed to be my cousin's bird, but he only like attached to my aunt.
Right?
But it's actually a female. And we found out all these years later, we've had this bird like forever. And she's spoiled too, because like we took her to the vet and they were like, do you only feed her like peanuts? Like she's supposed to have like a proper diet. And I'm like, Auntie, you're not even feeding her the right diet.
That's why she's mad.
That's why she's angry.
Yeah, you're not taking care of me.
It's got a bellyache.
She's spoiled.
I don't like peanuts.
Isn't
You
that
fed him
interesting,
peanuts?
like how we can feel rejected by animals too? Like that we project those feelings of like insecurity even onto animals that, you know, aren't actively thinking, I don't like you and I don't want to be here. At least we don't think that they are anyway. I guess we'll never really know. Maybe your cat secretly is plotting your death. I don't know, but
You know what? Sometimes when my cat goes over to my boyfriend, it just like, I feel so heartbroken. Like, I feel so unloved right now.
But I think like that happens a lot in childhood, especially. Pippin is leaving this conversation actually. Like,
Not an octopus, that's a cat.
Yeah, it's not a tentacle.
Right?
but you get a pet as a child, and a lot of times the pet is for you, right? Like I got a cat when I was 10. The cat was supposed to be for me, and I spent much of my childhood trying to woo the cat to me, being like, and he loved my mom more because she was the adult and, you know, probably was not running around and like leaping through the house. He was like, I like the person who sits quietly and watches TV. But, you know, joke was on him because when I moved out, I took it with me. So he couldn't fight it.
Right? Just even like temporary things when you're sitting with a dog and the dog goes to the other person. What did I do?
Yeah.
Right? Why did you stop loving me? Stop. Yeah. Paco just hated me. I'm just telling you, that's not a sad story. He's probably still alive, right? Don't parrots live for a long time?
70
Years, right?
My dad stuck with his words for the rest of the eternity.
Yeah.
They're like Paco.
Yeah, Paco, if you're out there, I forgive you. It's okay. It just didn't work out. That's fine.
Was he green?
It was, yeah, there's a green Senegal parrot. Why?
Okay, because we have down here in Sarasota, we have a little handful of wild parrots that
Oh, wow.
I see from time to time on the various power lines around.
Oh, does it bite you? Because if it
No, they're
is,
just,
it's
they're
probably him.
probably, I think there are about 4 of them,
Yes.
and they never get that close, but I'll just glance up, they're bright green and
Well, if one tries to bite you, then you know it's Paco.
That's
yeah,
it,
if I
right?
get close
Yeah,
enough and it's
totally.
coming at me,
Apologize.
then I know it's Paco.
Take
I'll
no
call him by name,
responsibility for-
see if
Yeah,
he comes for me.
see if he looks and then looks away.
Yeah.
We actually have those in Tampa too, but I'm not sure, or we used to. I don't know if any of the hurricanes have blown them away, but we used
Yeah,
to.
they may have come down to Sarasota.
Yeah.
It was quieter.
Yeah, like most people, right? Yeah, retire down there.
Got old enough, they had to come
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So pretty heavy
Edit that
stuff.
out.
Yeah, right? I think we should do a Kiara check because I don't
Yeah,
want
if your
Yeah.
pet is not loving you, I might have resources for
He
you.
never
with
loved me. He
that.
didn't stop loving me. He just never loved
Helps
me.
a bond with your pet.
I made it up. I got dogs and cats, so there you go, Paco. But anyways, Kiara check, right? So
Um,
I'm
going
sorry, I
back
threw you
to-
off.
yeah, it's okay. I'm trying to go back to like originally this was like, okay, so like acceptance from, is this still acceptance from those that
Yeah, feeling like like
Disappointed.
you're being othered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's a tough one, especially if it's like a parent that you feel like, oh, your parent's like, I'm not doing enough. Or like, I remember, or it reminds me of what Peter's saying, like with your grandma, like, I'm trying to be like, oh, fine. Like, so make you feel like you're not the favorite.
Mhm.
But I could do like resources to be like, I kind of, in one of the resources I found, it was like parental bonding.
Mhm.
So like how to respond to your kid if they're like trying to tell you about their day and you're like, oh, I'm so busy, but try to take time to like listen to what they have to say and like, promoting, healthy relationships.
That's hard today now, right?
Right.
Because we're working from home. And so I think someone was saying the other day, wasn't it one of our, in our other book clubs was saying it's hard working from home. Because if you have kids, then they think you're available all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone does. I had that issue in my undergrad with my roommate. If I was home working on a paper, but I was there,
Mhm.
I was available. So we had a lot of problems with that. I think that does cause a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if you don't have the space to really go into a place that lets you be have a door.
Right.
If you're
Yeah.
having to try to carve out that work time in public in the common area wherever you're living, it's even more difficult because you can't just put the sign on the door, I'm working.
Right.
Maybe a sign on your neck.
Right?
Maybe.
Don't
You know, I
I'm
might
wearing my
try that.
working
there.
hat. Yeah, I have on my working hat now. Maybe some sort of a physical
sign or
indicator
signal.
that I'm on. Now I'm off.
Right?
Or maybe you put the party hat on when you're ready to.
Yeah,
Right.
there we go.
I think it's also just hard if you're an extrovert and introvert living in a home with the opposite. Because if you're introverted, you need that time to yourself to have energy to interact. And now you're constantly around people, so you don't get it. And then the extrovert's like, this is the best thing in the whole world. I get to talk all day long to someone.
All right.
So
Yes, well said, Brittany.
Amazing. So this was
Lucky.
this was a tough question. And so for those who couldn't make it, for those at home, you can go ahead and journal about these. And as you're journaling, if you want someone to reach out to, Kiara's always here. Well, not 24/7, but yeah, you can email her
We're
at
floating in and out.
Story Strong, right? Yeah, Story Strong Book Club at gmail.com, which is slowly becoming another email. I'm going to give that second one out too. So it's storystrong at usf.edu. We're also checking that one. We're going to slowly transition to the EDU one. So, but you can we'll still watch both. So if you want to go ahead and journal about this question, and then you want some more resources even, right? Maybe you're raising a pet parrot or something who doesn't love you, who never loved you. Just saying hypothetically, you can go ahead and email Kiara. So let's go to our third question. Ooh, this has some from the text, right? This is going to be Brittany.
So in the novel, Coraline meets a talking black cat who tries to help her. At one point, she shares a memory with the cat about the day she and her father were attacked by wasps. He had encouraged her to run to save herself while he stood there and took all the stings himself to protect her. Later, he was forced to return to the wasps to retrieve his glasses he had left behind. So after finishing her story, Coraline makes the following observation to the cat about what her father had done.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, that wasn't brave of him, just standing there and being stung. It wasn't brave because he wasn't scared. It was the only thing he could do. But going back again to get his glasses, when he knew the wasps were there, when he was really scared, that was brave. The black cat asked Coraline, and why was that? And Coraline replied, because when you're scared, but you still do it anyway, that's brave. So, despite the neglect Coraline sometimes felt with regards to her family, she's still desperate to be brave so that she can find and save them. So, have any of you ever had to be brave in order to do something hard or to help someone who needed it, and what happened? And it doesn't have to be brave like you're saving someone's life. You know, bravery looks different.
Oh, okay.
It could just be taking a test or something that was, you know, you were terrified of. Like just moments where you faced your fear. Think about it like that.
I would have left the glasses. I saw that. I read that part.
Yeah.
I'd get another pair of glasses.
But what if you can't afford them?
Oh, I'd be walking around blind. My entire high school years, I did that.
I don't like hornets.
Same.
I'm just saying. Plus, I could probably run faster than my daughter, right?
Pick
No, I wouldn't, Jeannie. No.
This is
her up
not
and
like
run.
a zombie move. Just gonna run faster than the person you're with.
Right? I had a dog jump in a canal once, and that was scary. And I hate water and I hate alligators. So
yeah.
I have a fear of water, but I like going to the beach and stuff. It's one of those things I work through all the time. Because I saw Jaws when I was real young and got attacked by a giant crab.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did. It was super scary around the same time. Giant crab grabbed me. I was real small, so he like put his hands around me. It looked like an Alaskan crab, but I don't think so. I think I just made that up. So terrified of the water ever since. And then around this, when I was a little younger, I ran into a scary fish at a museum. I can't pronounce it. How's it pronounced? Do we know? Let's see. I'm asking the other actually. Coalant, sealant, or something like that. You know those old fish?
I can show a picture of it though.
Oh, yeah. This thing's scary. So based on these two experiences, I hate the water, but I love it. It's weird, you know. So it's a big fear. Wow, look at this. I'm just opening up to you today, right? Everybody at home. So I remember when my dog jumped in the canal, and this is in Florida, where there's tons of alligators. I was like, oh, and I was thinking, like, I don't want to get another dog. This was Maggie. She's terrible. So I jumped in the canal and kind of did this, grabbed her out. See, the thing is frightening. Look at that.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's
Right?
gross.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Put button eyes on that. It's perfect.
That's a monster.
Good button eyes on that.
I'll never sleep again.
That's the other fish.
That thing swims around the ocean. But the crab thing was really scary too.
But no, because remember we learned if you look at the map, they're only in the South Sea, so it's okay.
Yeah, I don't.
That is where that fish lives.
I don't.
Just can't go over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, one
But
half of the
if
world is
you're
out.
in India and you go
Just,
swimming
go
in the
there, don't go near
ocean,
the water.
Right. I
Well-
think for me, it's just been, this is Florida, and I am terrified of snakes.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
we live on a
It's
lake.
snake heaven.
Don't
Yeah,
go to
it's
the
snake heaven.
Everglades.
And we live in kind of a sort of in the country now.
Mm.
And I have I've had several times to just adult up and get snakes out of the
Ooh.
house. And
Really?
yeah, the
Mm.
we had it was a corn snake in the garage one day, and then
Oh,
I've had
gosh.
some of the little ones, the little teeny ones. I mean, they're just like the size of a pencil with a little red
Mm-mm.
neck. Some of those have gotten
Wait,
in.
redneck? Like a red stripe?
Yeah, a little red stripe around their necks. They're
Oh.
harmless, but
Are
they're
they?
tiny
Are
and
they?
they fit right in the cracks of the door.
God.
And so those have come in, and had to get those out and scoop them out of the pool. Had to scoop snakes out of the pool.
Oh, no.
And somebody's got to do it, but it's too often it's me.
You do the like red and something, like red and yellow, dangerous fellow. I don't know snakes.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh,
had
yeah.
any of those. And the ones that, I realize that snakes are our friends, and there are very few that are harmful in Florida. And I tell myself that. I brace myself, and I try to identify them. And
Really?
most of the ones I see are not harmful,
Yeah.
but I get a physical response every time I see one. Just
How do you pick it up?
terrified of them.
How do you get it out then? Is it like a bucket thing? You put on full like home armor?
Yeah, like the
Usually
Monsters, Inc.
usually I get a broom and try and guide them out. I did have a babysitter who one time was taking care of the boys, and she was I'm in awe of her because she just picked it up. She just reached down, picked it up, and took it outside. I was like,
I think if you grow up in the country, you're like that. My boyfriend's like that too. If he sees one, he's just And for me, that's like, my worst nightmare. I can't even imagine. But when you grow up with it, you're like acclimated to it, I guess.
And my younger son will do that with lizards. He just picks the lizards up and takes them out. And
my boyfriend does that too.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Those I'm not afraid of. I use the cup method, the cup and piece of paper to get it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And but the snakes, I usually have to escort them out. With the broom.
Wow. Maybe I'll get you a snake grabber.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, especially for the pool,
reaching stick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good.
Terrifying. See, at least I can stay out of the ocean. You're kind of in the snakes territory.
Yeah. And they don't come in that often. But I had some on our front yard when we lived in Tampa, or right on the front stoop, and tried to get them away with a water hose, but those things were indignant. They were not going anywhere. They were
Like
not
teenagers.
interested in my invitation to leave my doorstep.
Ooh, you tried to spray them and they wouldn't leave?
No, they were just like, what do you think? What are you thinking? No, this is my spot.
I wonder what that means in snake language. I don't know.
Right.
Those were just racers, but still, they're
big.
They weren't moving. They're big, and they were holding their ground.
And they swim. I didn't know that. First time I was down in Florida, I had to grab a snake off of someone's patio area, and I threw it in a lake, thinking, "Get out of here." I didn't want to be cruel. Sorry, everyone. I don't want to get a bunch of emails now. Anyways, they swim. Yeah. I didn't know snakes could swim because they didn't have legs or feet. I'm like, how can this?
Oh yeah, I see them. Like I said, we live on a lake. I see them all the time. Yeah,
like
out
swimming
there.
back at me. I didn't know any. I didn't watch enough snake specials, I guess. I didn't know.
They climb trees too.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I think
None of
some of
us
them
are
can
gay.
like jump trees too,
Yeah.
like
Some of
swing from trees. Yeah.
Wait, I think I
Yeah.
developed a new fear.
I think we're all
I
gonna
know,
take the ears
right?
now. So how are we gonna be brave and face our snake
I'm
fears?
the one who sees the snakes all the time. I think I'm hyper aware of them because, you know, my husband's like, I haven't seen a snake this whole year. It's like I've seen 45 and I'm counting.
Wow. Right? It's like, I haven't had to deal with snakes because I'm getting them all out of the house for you.
Right. I'm holding this house down.
Right? Oh,
It's like-
wow. That is frightening. That's a little scarier than mine, I think. Because I
I would
can.
move to Australia.
No.
No.
They have big snakes, scary
Yeah.
ones.
I
Really.
think I've seen like, sometimes they show ridiculous like scenarios of like, I think it was like a snake and a spider like fighting. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I
Really?
can't do it.
A snake.
I tagged my friend who lives in Australia and all of those. I was like, does this happen in your backyard? Because she's always sending me
Right.
pictures of like koalas out in her
Oh,
backyard.
Those are cool. Those are cool.
That would be cool. Yeah. We just have snakes and stuff. Ugh.
Monsters.
But it's also
Oh.
like what you're used to, right? So your friend in
Mhm.
Australia, because I
Yeah.
had a friend in grad school who like was constantly asking me about the alligators in Florida, and I would be like, well, yeah, like growing up, we had one in our backyard. We had a little pond out there, and it was just
Oh.
like a 4-footer, And she was like,
It's just a
what?
4-footer.
And we were like, well, like it would just kind of come out and sun itself. We had a dog. We just made sure he was on a leash, like
Mm.
we weren't
Yeah.
really backyard people. If we saw him, we wouldn't go out. And it was a pretty big backyard. The pond was down there. We only saw him a few times.
I lived in a place
Oh my gosh.
with a lake that had like, I think it was like a mom and a baby back there. And I used to have like 2 little miniature pinchers. So my mom would be like, you cannot let them out in the bag at all costs. Cause she was like, that's literally a snack for them.
Yeah. It was a lake?
It was like a man-made lake. It wasn't,
Oh.
I think there were like multiple in the neighborhood, but somehow, some way, like they managed to find their way to that lake.
They migrate. Like they'll go in man-made ones, but they don't stay there usually long.
Yeah, they
They'll go to
eventually
another
left.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think since we've been here, we've only had one in the lake that we live on. I mean, I think our neighborhood is pretty aggressive about having them moved on from here.
Have them
And we have a
moved
lot
on.
of waterfowl. Yeah,
A
they're
little U-Haul.
yeah.
Right?
Get them on their way. You can stay somewhere else, not here. But
The
it's
HOA,
a
they come-
natural
Right.
lake.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, this is a natural lake. It's a part of a system that goes all the way through Sarasota. Starts at like the celery fields and then goes out to the bay, the whole
Oh.
network.
Oh, you have a lot of things you could be afraid of,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Gators and snakes, and there's a lot of, yeah. I mean, I love the water, but I
Yeah,
just-
no, we've had
Yeah.
bobcats. I saw
Oh,
a bobcat
bobcats.
in the front, and we've had I saw a coyote once.
Oh wow.
Those I've only seen once, and so and the bobcat just basically since the pandemic I saw it out
Ooh.
out there.
Do they
but,
eat snakes?
Right.
I don't think they're very interested, or they don't eat very many. We got a lot of hawks and they eat snakes. I've seen them.
Oh,
There you go.
Doing God's
Yeah.
work.
unless they
Yes.
get lazy and then they just eat
Yeah.
squirrels and a lot of the
Rabbits.
hawks. Yeah, or just lizards and stuff. Sometimes they're just like lazy. Sorry. Maybe I have this bird
But
thing.
we want the snakes because we don't want mice and we don't want those things. So that
Yeah.
the snakes we want. I am a fan, even though I'm terrified of them.
Love the work you do. Big
Yeah.
fan of your work.
Love the way.
Big fan.
There.
Let's do it over there. Yeah.
Right.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
my high school, or actually my middle school, was in like a really wooded area in town and country.
Mm.
And I guess one day randomly there was a snapping turtle like by the stairs. And one of the
Oh,
teachers
gosh.
went out with like this like bin and was trying to trap it because she's like the outdoorsy teacher, even though she taught math. So it was,
Weird, right?
it was a
Weird.
lot. I think it was really feisty.
Yeah.
They are
And
feisty.
huge.
Yeah, we do have those here.
Yeah.
I see them occasionally. on my driveway.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they cross.
no.
There's the driveway goes between two parts of the lake, and so sometimes the otters and the turtles.
Otters?
Yeah, we have otters.
Preserve.
She literally lives in like a sanctuary.
aquarium.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
It is pretty amazing. It's been really cool, and so since we've been sheltering in, it's nice to be able to get out and see
Field
the
trip to
stuff.
Denise's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's we're kind of in this really wooded area on a lake, so we're back here, and there's little there are 3 lakes in this area, and they're all kind of connected, and so the animals pass through. They'll either go under the driveway or they'll cross over the driveway. So we see really
This is so
interesting
cool.
things, but the otters are really cool to watch. They're
Yeah.
mean. They're
Really? Oh, I didn't know. That's like a top 10 animal.
I mean,
I
I know they're mean because
disappointment again.
no, they're just feisty. When we lived in Charleston, one of the preserves there said that the caretakers had to be, they had some rescued ones there, and they said they had to be super careful about the way that they had the otters out of the enclosure. If they were going to go in to clean, they could not be in there because they're really they're adorable, but they're feisty.
Oh, wow.
So they're cute, but you don't want to call them to you. You don't. You want to leave. You want to give them their space.
Wow, this is like an educational program, kids.
Yeah, this is great.
Don't touch otters.
Yeah.
Not
Stay
all
away
snakes
from the
are bad.
otters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where I am now, I live near like the Hillsborough State Park. I think that's where it is, off of 301.
Yeah.
And there's alligators there. You can we went on a field trip for my brother, and he went kayaking, and there was an alligator right there. And I was like,
Oh no.
glad I wasn't with you at that time.
Right.
Yeah. Kayaking is too low for me. I've had
Right.
this discussion with that. Canoes are fine, I think.
I can't do either. I tipped over one in high school. I dropped my cell phone in it.
Oh no!
I'm almost not happy.
Oh, is it still there? It's still
Oh
there.
no, I was climbing out of the
Can't go back.
kayak.
Brave.
Yeah, and my friend had this huge lake in her backyard, and there was alligators in it, and I was trying to get out, and as I was getting out, I slipped and went down. So I was in the water, and my phone fell out of my pocket, and I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to keep my phone in my pocket while doing this, but I was freaking out, and I had to put my phone in rice, and then I finally told my mom in the end, and she was not happy with me.
Hey, you didn't get eaten alive by gators.
You
so
faced
there's
your
one.
fear.
That's true.
Hey.
Yeah, I lived in
Did it
Minnesota.
again after that.
When I was in Minnesota, we have lakes, and there's nothing in there that can kill you. So then when
Right.
you come down here, it's terrifying because I can go swimming there and never once worry about even a fish nipping at my feet. It's just they're so clean and beautiful, and yeah, you won't get me to go to a springs here. No way. I'm
You go to
terrified.
like Wiki Watch here.
I've lived here for most of my life on and off, but I still can't do it. They're just too scary to me.
It is. Let's see. I want to, yeah, that's scary. So, sorry about that segment. Face your fears. Talia, I liked how your fear was your mom, right? Going to your
Wow.
mom, watch your phone.
Ruin my cell phone. It would be the least of my
Not
problems.
the
Right.
alligator, the snakes, or anything in the water, really.
No, yeah.
Let's jump to a question about Persepolis, right? Number 5. We'll skip number 4 because I think we've talked about Coraline for quite a while. So let's see. Brittany, you did the last one, right?
Yep.
So Natalia, you want to do question 5?
I shall.
Let's see.
So in the graphic memoir Persepolis, Marjane Satrapi, maybe, tells the story of her life in Tehran during the Islamic Revolution and the devastating effects of war with Iraq. In her memoir, she recounts a story about one day getting stopped by 2 angry women because she was wearing jeans. They called her horrible names to try to make her feel like something was wrong with her based on how she was dressed. Has anyone ever put you down based on how you looked, or maybe for making different choices in the life than they did? How did you handle that? Anybody?
I'll go.
Here we go. It's your favorite,
so-
facing your face.
I have gotten some not so very nice comments from coworkers in the past about my tattoos. So
Really?
the best one I can remember was when I got the one on my arm, and there was kind of a creepy patron at our library who some of the ladies had already expressed like reservations about helping. So this patron came up and they saw my tattoo and they grabbed my arm over the counter, yanked it towards them, and slid their hand down my arm across my tattoo and told me how much they loved it. So obviously I wasn't too happy about this interaction. So I went to my supervisor and I asked her if it would be okay for someone else to help this patron from now on when they came in, that I didn't feel comfortable. And their response verbatim was, well, that's what happens when you get a tattoo. So it made me feel like so exposed somehow. Like, you know, this was a person that I trusted, and they were telling me that because I made a different choice than them, because I had a different style and I wanted to express myself differently than they did, that it was my fault if something bad happened to me. And I never told her how I felt about it. I just sort of stewed in resentment for like a week. Because it was my supervisor, and I was afraid if I confronted her about how it made me feel, that I would just get in trouble. So I don't know, has anybody else ever been in like, not that exact situation, obviously, but like where a figure, like a teacher or a parent said maybe something not so nice about how you looked? Natalia.
My favorite story. So in high school, I was in drama class, and I had just tried out for my first play, and I was so excited, and I got one of the, wasn't a lead role, but it was more one of the major roles. And the play was called Drop Dead Juliet, and it's a parody on Shakespeare. And it's so funny. It is hilarious. But side note, I wasn't told about the meeting, so I ended up losing the role, and I kind of called out my teacher on it because she never told me about the meeting. So she ended up giving me these 2 minor parts.
2?
And so, yeah, they were very minimal. Like I played Ophelia, and she runs out on stage and she goes, and then she runs off. But the other one was I was a nun, and my teacher was trying to find a costume for me. And it's just like still think about this. But she actually got mad at me because I had tried on 2 outfits and none of them fit well. They were for someone that was really beyond petite. And I wasn't like super overweight, but I was a little bit heavier than the rest of my classmates. But she told me we wouldn't have a problem if I wasn't so fat.
Oh.
Wow. So yeah.
Wow.
It was really rough to hear that from a teacher.
Right. So what's my motivation, teacher, for this play, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
so, found a costume for me though.
Right? Did you stick in the play though? What happened?
I did. I stuck in the play. We got the costume she found was so my school had a performing arts program, and one of their classes they did sewing, so they fixed up the costume so it looked better. It was like a costume they'd never used, and yeah, I actually stuck it out. I was like, I was mad at her, and I kind of yelled at her.
How old were you?
16. I was 16.
Right. Yeah, like we don't know how to react to that, especially when it's
Yeah.
someone who we think is supposed to know better, but they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's like shocking, but you're like, what do you do? Like that comes up all the time when people, why didn't you say something? Or why didn't you report it? It's like, oh, I mean, like first, I'm a child. I don't know what to do. And then second, it just surprises you so much. And then they're like, oh, you're just blowing it out of proportion. Like, no.
Exactly. That's what I was expecting. Because I told my parents about it. My parents were very angry over it.
Yeah. What did they do?
They told me I should tell someone higher up, like an assistant principal or something, but I said, whatever.
That's hard to do too, right?
Yeah, it is. So I kind of left it, but I also in my senior year I was doing an internship, and I was thrown into that drama class again that I didn't want to be in.
Mhm.
So that same teacher yelled at me for not doing an assignment. And I finally got fed up with her, and I told her, please don't do this please don't do this to your
Kids,
teachers.
don't do this. To
Don't do this at home. I told her class was insignificant to what I was doing. So I was like, I have more important things to do, like dealing with an internship, than this class that I didn't even sign up for in the first place. And I walked out.
Nice. There you go.
So I was
And
proud of
both
myself for
grades,
that.
right? That must-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard though. I grew up
Yeah,
with a crooked tooth. I still have it. Because I took my braces off. I was terrible at it. So my teachers would always go, "What's wrong with your teeth?" And like, ugh. So growing up, I thought I wasn't like, I thought it was like ugly because my tooth, or wouldn't smile or do anything like that. And then I look at at young Peter's 5th grade picture. I'm like, wow, he's kind of cute, right? I was like, wow. But growing up, because of the tooth, I just, like everyone would like, oh, what's wrong with your tooth? I'm like, I don't know. It's because kids don't yank your tooth when it's loose. I think that's what happened. So something like that. But and then my mother would do it too. So all these people that we expected to act better, she goes, oh, don't do that. She would tell me not to smile in our pictures.
I had a grandmother who told me not to smile.
Right?
She told me
Yeah.
that if I kept my mouth closed, that my teeth would straighten out and I wouldn't need braces. When I was
Really?
it was before I must have been about 3rd, 4th grade, when they're kind of big for our face. Our teeth are
Right.
big on the little face.
Wow.
And yeah, she told me that if I kept my mouth shut, I wouldn't.
That's like 1800s medicine, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't need braces.
Keep your mouth shut and you would be
That's
Yeah.
the opposite of like the female narrative, right? Like where you should always be smiling in order to be accepted. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Mine was because of the crooked tooth. She goes, "Oh, don't smile. You're going to ruin our picture."
Yeah.
Whatever. Thanks. So
Mine were really big, big teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like we all did though, right?
Yeah, that's part of our little
The worst here.
8, 9-year-old face.
Right. When your teeth come in and it look like
You're all teeth.
yeah. Like Rudolph and all those Rankin Bass where all the kids have the big teeth and stuff like that in cartoons. That's
Yeah, I
what.
look at my 3rd grade picture and I'm wearing a dirndl and my teeth are like, out to
Right?
here, but I look so happy and I had my own, I think I must have cut my own hair.
Oh.
Yeah. That picture I love now. It's the funniest thing.
I'm so jealous of people that were able to cut their hair.
Oh, I still do.
Oh, I didn't say I did a good job.
No.
And I did that again one time in middle school, and I did not allow for curl and humidity. And so I cut my own bangs, and I cut them, I must have cut them like right here, and then they curled up to here.
Oh.
And I got some comments about how I looked.
Oh, I get it. That's amazing. I'm not going to tell you that'd be an amazing picture though.
I think I do have a picture with my bangs that short.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was
one
that was right before a school picture.
In my hair, like it's okay now, but like I got cowlicks too. And my hair would go everywhere. And people would make fun of that. And my mom would make fun of that. She goes, oh yeah. Wow. A lot of mom issues today. I don't know.
Yeah, we've got a lot of
Bird issues. I'm
unresolved.
not sure who it was. Maybe it was Taco or something like that. So I was always paranoid about my hair too and my teeth and stuff. So yeah. So
that's a good thing for Kiara, right? Like how do you approach authority figures when something like that's just completely inappropriate, right? Like or outright insulting that should not be said. Like how do you even have that conversation as a subordinate in some way mean, that's really, really difficult. So that would be like a good thing. I don't know if there's any resources for that, like, having an uncomfortable conversation with your boss or with a professor or whatever,
Definitely.
or
Or with
parent.
the teacher. Yeah.
Right.
With-
Yeah, definitely. I can I will leave the emails in the chat. And if you want any resources, any advice, trying to approach that difficult conversation, if you have a difficult teacher like Natalia, please shoot me an email and we can, try to work it out together.
Can I throw you an email now about her?
Right? I know. You want to go ahead and tell her names or no? No.
This high school, this is
She
her
said,
office number.
she said she was
Yeah.
she said she was a
Oh.
Broadway star, so
Oh, see there it is.
There, yeah.
Broadway star. Wow.
yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So why are you working in a high school right now?
Did you say that?
Part.
No, I thought it.
Oh,
That
you
was
so
what
said
I
that when
did.
you got home to yourself.
It's amazing
Good
what
one,
you can come up with after the fact.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, I think we
Amazing.
talked about that before.
Yeah.
Oh, I still won that argument in my head, right? Well, let's see. I think we're getting to the end just this week. Again, for those who are at home, if you want to, journal about this one, this was a good question too, based on Persepolis and just dealing with people who, especially older people. I think that's what we came with. People in authority, people you trust. Doesn't necessarily have to be strangers when they comment or say mean things to you and stuff.
It was just adults saying that to her, to
Yeah.
Persepolis.
Yeah, right. Which is a good book too.
Mhm.
And it has a sequel. Is it just Persepolis 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a movie.
Yeah. Right.
I
So.
think it's actually a trio, a trilogy. That's the word I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
Trilogy. Yeah. I think she
Yeah.
has 3.
Wow. Let me guess. The third one is Persepolis 3.
I think you're right. They may have, subtitles, but
Right.
it can be found that way in the catalog.
Yes, in Hillsborough County. You share with Hillsborough County, right, Natalia, the catalog?
Yep.
Yeah. So you could look that up there if you want to take a look at that book. And we didn't get to Pumpkinheads tonight. I'm sorry. Some of us have read Pumpkinheads, and maybe we'll cover that. You can always make that. Yeah, we can make that
Yeah.
our primary book next time. In the fall, that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Everyone, it's my fault. There were pumpkins. It's kind of fall-y, and I said, "Hey, this is a great March book."
Because Peter is against St.
Yeah.
Patrick's Day, we've learned, so he's looking for another holiday to replace it.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Halloween all year. We're cool with it.
Yeah, I'm against it. Maybe we'll bring that up on our St. Patrick's Day episode.
There we
right?
go.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anyways, threw me off. No, you didn't. We did our Kiara check. That's great. If you have any issues, if you've had a bird that never loved you, or
Yeah.
snakes in your backyard that are always coming in,
Or front porch.
or front
Yeah,
porch,
yeah.
right?
Otters,
Or teachers with hearts of ice, and just go ahead and send her an email. But we have upcoming books. It sounds like this next week's going to be exciting. So I hand this off to Brittany.
Yes, so next Wednesday at 5, same time, we're going to continue exploring this idea of othering, but we're going to have a little fun by making an other us. So we're going to be making a 2-dimensional doll or figure that represents us, maybe how others see us or how we see ourselves. And we're going to cut out felt and fabric or draw, and it's going to be awesome. So then the Wednesday after, we're going to have another book club session, and we're going to be reading and discussing El Defo by C.C. Bell. And maybe if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about Ghosts by Randy Telgemeier. Oh, there's our books again, our Vanna White advertising by
It's
Natalia.
the only one I could guess. The other ones are all on hold.
Also Ghostopolis by Doug Tenapple. So be sure to check those out and sign up for the activity next Wednesday.
So let's see. So I think we know everybody's position on ebooks, right? And physical books. I think everyone's good with the date and time. But if you would like to read a different type of book, you can go ahead and send us an email. Or if you think this is a bad date and time. Say, I can't make it. I don't know why I made it so dramatic, but just
Throw
send
out
us an
some other
email.
times that
Yeah.
might work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think like, hey, this is not a good time, we can't schedule it during school, and that can't be an excuse to get out of school.
Darn it.
Yeah, right. Or if you
Hall
think
pass.
that you would like to do this on a Saturday, if you'd like to see our Saturday edition, same lineup, but maybe a Saturday, not too early kids. Or young
Got
adults.
Saturday morning cartoons to deal with though.
There are no more Saturday morning cartoons.
What? Don't tell me that.
Yeah, they're
I
all
will put on
gone.
cartoons.
Yeah,
I will
no,
put
the
on
last one I
cartoons.
think appeared a couple years ago. I was a big Saturday cartoon guy.